I love Celestine and Greyfax as a couple. I love this essay. I have been asked to read a fan essay about Celestine and Greyfax, a sort of dive into the relationship, and I'm allowed to read it on YouTube to give brutal criticism. I think reading it will be enough. The author is well aware of possible responses that may come in the comments, so you don't have to hold back. The most important thing is that we all have a good time. However you have a good time. Let's begin. Saint Celestine and Inquisitor Greyfax share a dynamic in the Warhammer 40,000 lore that is ripe for analysis. A bond charged with palpable tension. Mayhaps of more than one kind. I don't think mayhaps is a word. Perhaps. There's thematic conflict, dramatic incongruence. Their interactions verge on what would be called by any sensible person as romance. Mayhaps working admiration, and perchance illustrate ideological fiction in the grimdark setting. This essay explores their relationship through the lenses of homoerotic subtext, the age gap due to Celestine's eternal youth, and social class undertones as Greyfax confronts work occultists with or without her girlfriend. Part 1. The origins of tension, uneasy respect, and lip-biting. Their first canonical encounter occurs in the Gathering Stormfall of Cadia, where Greyfax initially regards Celestine as a mutant psyker or demon imposter, unworthy of sainthood. Greyfax's hostility is not personal, but mayhaps professional duty. She likes to bitch slap a heretic. Greyfax has to determine if Celestine is worthy of sainthood, and mayhaps worthy of more, like a spot in her bed. Yet in this atmosphere of erotic distrust, Celestine shows unexpected warmth. In the audio drama Our Martyred Lady, Celestine addresses Greyfax simply as Katerinia, a closeness not afforded to many as Inquisitor Babefax would ruffle-stomp any unworthy disrespectful curs. This personal address mayhaps marks the beginning of a deeper psychological intimacy beyond professional alliance. Part 2. Homoerotic undertones and tropes. While none of the official lore confirms a romantic relationship, fans readily interpret subtext. And there is some serious subtext, shipping is prime. Greyfax treats Celestine as an attack dog that can be sent to fetch heretics. If you are into that, I guess it is hot. But Greyfax turns into a complete gay disaster whenever Celestine does anything and is secretly a sucker, wink, for her, not girlfriend, colleague. That sexual tension, mayhaps unintentional, lingers beneath every word and mission. The trope of the tsundere is frequently applied to Greyfax. Cold, harsh, but not in Celestine's presence. Greyfax was suspicious of Celestine, but by the end of the 41st millennium, there is a grudging respect. They are more than allies, and more than friends. That can only mean they are in love. They are portrayed as polar opposites in personality, but perhaps kindred spirits in loneliness. They need to hold each other to feel safe in the harsh galaxy. Greyfax, mayhaps, is emotionally isolated, and isolated in time after being abducted by Necrons. The people she knew and loved have died from old age and war. Celestine is isolated by perpetual rebirth and battlefield martyrdom. She is reborn in another part of the desperate galaxy and needs her Katerinia to give her a sense of home. Part 3. Age Gap. Saint Celestine's nature as a living saint repeatedly reborn means that she appears perpetually youthful, radiant, and timeless. Greyfax is a boomer. Old, white-haired, reanimated by Necron nanomachines, and views herself as cynical. Their age gap is not measured in years, so it can't be considered immoral. Like a 100-year-old vampire schoolgirl, how they look is not important. Age is a number that has lost meaning. Do you count Greyfax's age by including the years spent in the Necron equivalent of the British Museum? Do you count every life that Celestine has lived as part of her age? This juxtaposition gives room for layers of erotic tension. The youthful purity of Celestine and the world-weary Greyfax who, like any old woman, is aware that most of her friends are dead and needs a hot young thing to make her feel alive. Oh my. Greyfax's suspicion and professionalism can, mayhaps, crack under the weight of Celestine's sincerity. The contrast becomes erotic in the way Celestine will always be young and renewing for her Greyfax, able to melt her cold heart. Both are women out of their time. Greyfax spent millennia in stasis. Celestine has the dubious honor of being killed, reborn, and killed again across the galaxy. That shared displacement in time creates empathy. Empathy is hot. Celestine's eternal youth and Greyfax's resurrected longevity reflect two sides of temporal alienation, and perchance draw them together. Part 4. Class conflict and Inquisitorial ideology. A class dimension subtly weaves through Greyfax's worldview. As an Inquisitor of the Ordo Hereticus, she interrogates corruption, including cult movements often tied to disenfranchised working classes. Greyfax's disdain aligns with elite suspicion of the rabble. Meanwhile, Celestine attracts soldiers, peasants, and lower-class worshippers through her miraculous presence. Mayhaps there is an unspoken friction. Celestine is the face of populist piety. Greyfax is the austere enforcer of social orthodoxy who oppresses the working class by stomping the heads of culty boys with her 6-inch mommy heels. Her alliance is therefore one of class tension. Celestine embodies devotion across all the Imperial classes, while Greyfax polices class boundaries and is the representative of elite classes overseeing faith. Greyfax controls faith as she is the one who gets to determine if Celestine is a worthy saint or a false saint. If Celestine wasn't hot, then Greyfax may have excommunicated her from the galaxy with a condemn stake. That she accompanies Celestine into situations involving cultists of the working class suggests a balancing force. Celestine's compassion tempered by Greyfax's discipline. That dynamic mayhaps deepens their bond, one reckless with her life, open and a beacon of hope, the other guarded, suspicious and closed. I believe Celestine will come to value her life in Greyfax's presence, while Greyfax can relax more around the hot sword babe that is Celestine. Part 5. Moments that hint at deeper connection. Two canonical scenes provide key points. In the fall of Cadia, Greyfax intervenes to save Celestine from Abaddon, framing it not as heroism, but as ownership. This so-called saint would not be gaining immortality. No, Greyfax would question her, expose her for what she is. This heretic fraud was hers to break. Her tone is possessive, intense, and erotic in the use of BDSM terms. Especially when you consider that as an Inquisitor, Greyfax will have a big dungeon. In Our Martyred Lady, Greyfax and Celestine share prolonged interaction. Celestine gently presses Greyfax to trust her. Celestine offers to act as Greyfax's psychic focus. Greyfax resists at first, saying she cannot open her mind. Celestine replies, "Trust me, Katarina, show a little faith." The emotional vulnerability in that passage is real. These scenes are minimal in text, but massive in implication. Mayhaps the only thing holding them back from confessing something forbidden is protocol or pride. The tension is unmistakable. Who will confess their feelings first? Will Greyfax break Celestine to get her to confess? Love is war. All is fair in love and war, and in the 41st millennium there is only war. It is not easy to open up and try a long relationship when you may be dead tomorrow, even if Celestine will come back. Part 6. Mayhaps romance, mayhaps cooperation, mayhaps more. I still don't think it's a word. But okay, it's growing on me. It's growing on me. Taken together, the evidence suggests an oscillation between suspicion and affection, hostility and protection, distance and intimacy. Greyfax may never declare romantic love, but her jealousy and her protective urgency suggests something deeper. Mayhaps Celestine sees Greyfax as a peer rather than a stern judge. Mayhaps Greyfax sees in Celestine the only being she might relinquish control around. Mayhaps Celestine's youthful light ignites something in Greyfax's older heart. They slay together, they argue together, they face the forces of chaos together, and they walk away changed. Though none of the formal lore labels this as romance, girl-girl romance has notoriously been suppressed in literature. For Yuri fans, subtext is usually all we get. If the ship works, it sails. Part 7. Conclusion. Now kiss. The relationship between Celestine and Greyfax is layered. It is forged in suspicion, yet tempered by mutual respect and underpinned by homoerotic longing. Their interactions are romantic, but you can totally pretend that they are platonic if you are willing to ignore how emotionally charged their every interaction is. Celestine's eternal youth contrasts Greyfax's self-perceived old age. Celestine's charisma contrasts Greyfax's rigidity. Celestine's faith meets Greyfax's skepticism, and within those contrasts lies a fragile intimacy revealed in gestures, glances, and gay trust. Mayhaps one day more canon material will clarify their true status as lovers. Until then, fans will continue to sense that Celestine and Greyfax share a relationship more than colleagues, more than friends, in the grim darkness of the far future. Well, I sure am glad I got paid to read that out. That was fun. It had some interesting analogies and metaphors. I have a word I mayhaps use a bit more. And I had never considered the age gap before, so that was really well thought of. I'm not sure lolly vampires needed to be mentioned. I'm not going to get into that. If you would like something a bit more canonical, but is also Adeptus Sororitas lore, this is the story of Ephrael Stern. It has a slightly different tone, but it's another video to watch so that you have a great day of 40k.